Hey there, you're listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion. Here's your host, RJ Carbone.
And a high drive into left center field. Stanley's going to watch another one fly. Are you kidding me? DiVincenzo a three. Bang! Bang! Knicks take a
Take this time to apologize to absolutely nobody.
At the wall. See ya! See ya! See ya! Mr. Nova.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down and the game is tied.
Rose, you shook up the world again.
I did it again. But God did it, man. I really just had
Gonna have to. Brunson running away. Oh my! He has been the best player to put on that uniform.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Well, we got our opening day starter today. We found out with the way it's lining up, Carlos Rodón is starting in tomorrow's spring training game on Saturday. Then he'll pitch on the 21st, which means he is lined up to start on opening day. Max Fried will get game 2 because there wasn't enough time with the way they want to have these guys on schedule after that Cole injury. But the game 1 opening day home opener against the Milwaukee Brewers at 3 p.m., I believe on a Thursday, Carlos Rodón will be throwing first pitch. And I'm excited for it, man. And Carlos Rodón is expected, I wouldn't say expected, but he's going to have to play a big role this year. It's unfortunate because after or before all these injuries hit the Yankees, you kind of like the idea that Rodón was now pushed to the back end of the rotation. A lot less pressure. It sucks because now he's back into that 1A or 2 role. But he's pitching against the Brewers, who he has had success against in the past. 4 games against the Brewers over the course of his career. Started in each of them. He's got a 2.65 ERA across 17 innings. He's allowed 5 runs earned and struck out 21. If you remember, go back to last April, towards the end of the month, he threw 6 innings of 1-run ball against them. That was in the big 15-run outburst the Yankees had in that game. But Rodón is starting on opening day. How do you feel? Let me know in the comments. If you're on YouTube, let me know in the comment section on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whenever I post these clips of this episode. But let me know how you feel, man. I'm fine with it. Again, it's the way things are lining up, but it's opening day, right? Rodón is going to be an interesting storyline to follow year 3. Obviously making the $160-something million that he's making, he's going to have the expectations, and I feel like most fans, understandably so, are very critical of him because of that contract. In 2023, he came here, struggled with injuries, returned, was extremely disappointing, was horrendous. He had some nightmare outings. The Yankees missed the postseason. The reason they signed him was to make the postseason and make starts in the postseason for them. So you go to the offseason. He comes into camp in February looking in much better shape. And he rebounded to a degree in 2024. He was a big reason the Yankees made the postseason and made the division run that they took because he had himself a fine regular season. He bounced back. He 8 innings. He made every start through the rotation. He punched tickets. his final line in 2024, Carlos Rodón made 32 starts. He threw 175 innings. He struck out 195 batters. Posted a 3.96 ERA, which equated to a 104 ERA plus, so about average. And really, when you look at his year as a whole, it felt a lot better because he had those 3 blow-up starts in the middle of the summer. Everything else was good, but it was those 3 starts. He's going to have to work on not doing that because when Carlos Rodón is bad, he's bad. You know, like you had those 3 starts against Boston, Atlanta, and Toronto. I think it was sometime in June where he was giving up 8 runs, 7 runs. And he also had a couple of other blow-ups outside that little stretch. You know, early in the year against Baltimore, a little later in the summer, Washington and Detroit hit him around a little bit. And then he had his handful of gems. You know, he tossed a gem actually against Milwaukee. He had a really good performance where I think he struck out double figures against the Rays. He had a 7-inning gem against the Royals in the regular season. And he shut down the Texas Rangers a little later. So it was a year of extremes, but I feel like his regular season overall was solid, and it was a lot better than the ERA that you see on paper. You get to the postseason last year, and it was a mixed bag. It was up and down, right? You had Game 2 against the Royals. That was his first start. He comes out the gate throwing 99 on the edges. You know, he strikes out 3 batters in a row to start the game. He's so amped up, a little too amped up, that he ends up giving up 4 runs in the next 2-3 innings, whatever it was, and he takes the loss. Right? Kind of gets clowned for it after, and he takes accountability, and he comes out his next start, which was Game 1 against Cleveland in the LCS, much more tame, fixed himself, and he goes 6 innings, 1-run ball, picks up the win. Pitches Game 5 when the Yankees traveled to Cleveland and just wasn't right. Gave up, or no, this was an okay start. This was the 4 innings, or maybe like 4 2/3, a 2-run ball, right? So he was so-so. Picked up the no decision. The Yankees won. And then he pitched Game 2 of the World Series against the Dodgers in LA, and he was bad, where he gave up 4 runs in 3 innings and change, took the loss. So, you know, he had 1 great outing, 1 so-so outing, and 2 really bad outings. You want to see him improve there, right? I would like for him this year to step up in the regular season now even further with Cole out, with Heel out. But if he's similar to what he was last year, and then he steps up in the postseason and gives us a more consistent playoff performance, then I am absolutely cool, because that's the reason you're paying him $27 million a year, because you want Carlos Rodón to go out there and shove for 4 postseason starts. But you got to get there first. And so, again, now that the Yankees are without Garrett Cole and they're without Luis Heel for at least 3 months, they're going to need this guy to step up. It can't just be Max Fried, okay? It's got to be Max Fried and Carlos Rodón, 1 and 2. And Carlos Rodón has obviously done it before. When he was with the White Sox, his final year there, he was very good. And then he had a really good year when he was with San Francisco before the Yankees went out and signed him. So he's had 2 very good seasons of complete consistency before. But one thing that has not translated to success since coming to the Yankees has been his fastball. the fastball has not been good with New York. It's a pitch that has gotten slugged around a lot with the Yankees. In 2023, it was a disaster. And last year, it was really bad. Last year, it yielded a .514 slugging percentage, .562 expected slugging, and he allowed 21 of the 31 home runs that he surrendered on the four-seam fastball. You look at it, and it had to be a big reason that he gave up a lot of hard hit balls, gave up a lot of barrels, and the exit velocity on average was not very good from Rodon's side. And it was because of the four-seam fastball. Now, the thing is, you compare his four-seamer as a Yankee to his four-seamer when he was at his best in 22 and 23, or in 21 and 22, the velocity is about the same. It's above average. It's 95. That's what it was a couple years ago. The spin rates are also the same. They're above average. So, to me, that draws the conclusion that it's location. The location on the fastball needs to improve, because we know Rodón likes to elevate the heat. He likes to go high, but you can't miss up in the zone with 95. If you go high and you're not throwing close to triple digits, you got to be over the zone, right? You can't miss middle high at 95. You just can't do that. So I went and looked and went back to 2022, the last time his fastball yielded good results, and I looked at the heat map, and his average fastball location that year was a lot higher than his average fastball location was last year. And one thing I also noticed when digging into it, the movement on his fastball last year was the most movement he's ever had. Vertically and horizontally, it moved a lot more than usual. And so when you have a four-seam fastball that has more movement than you want, it's much harder to control it that way. So I think that's probably why he got hit around. He just wasn't able to control and command his fastball the way he wanted. If you're going to go high with it, you got to miss above the zone high, because these major league hitters today, they're not blown away by 95. If you leave 95 up in the zone, if it's not leaving the park, it's an extra base hit. So it's definitely location, in my opinion. It's not, I don't even think it's like predictability anymore, right? Because he did mix it up a lot more last year. He added some pitches into his arsenal. He used to be just fastball slider, right? It was 60% heat, 30% slide, and like 10% everything else. Last year, he was fastball, slider, changeup, and he even threw an occasional curveball in there. He dropped that in here and there. And then he started throwing a cutter in the first half of the year, kind of scrapped that pitch. He might have even scrapped it after those 3 blow-up starts, if not even earlier. But it was fastball, slider, change, and occasional curve last year. So that's good that he's now got more of a bag to dive into and he can mix up his pitches. You know, I thought the changeup was a really good pitch for him last year. I did. I like the changeup that he throws. He threw it 13% of the time last year, and it was only to righties. He didn't throw a single changeup to lefties, being that he is a lefty, and it's got decent fade tailing. Excuse me. It's got decent fade tailing away, but it's got really good drop. I think the best part of his changeup is the fact that it drops vertically really well. And overall, the changeup was a really tough pitch to do damage on. Some really crazy numbers on it. A 247 opponent slugging, a 260 expected slug, only 1 home run allowed on that changeup, and a 50% whiff rate, which is absurd. That means half the swings on the changeup were misses. And also his run value on off-speed pitches, which the changeup counts as the only off-speed pitch he threw, I'm pretty sure, 93rd percentile. So the numbers on it are really good. And the eye test backs it up. I like the movement on it. I think it's got decent separation and velocity than his fastball. I want to see him lean into his changeup more, up the usage, mix it into lefties, throw that backdoor changeup to lefties. It's a different look. It makes you even less predictable. And then he's got a good slider. The slider is obviously his biggest weapon. It's what he's gone to his entire career when he plays it off the fastball. Last season, 26% usage on the slider. It's an effective pitch both to righties and lefties. He likes to go away versus lefties, and he goes back foot slider to righties. It's a pitch with great drop and really great horizontal break. So that's a pitch you want to see him continue to use. But again, as he mixes in that changeup, that's ideal. And then the curveball that he occasionally will throw. The curveball got bad numbers last year. Right-handed hitters crushed it for a 607 slugging percentage. 607 slugging percentage across 29 plate appearances last year. So at a very, very low volume, righties did damage the curveball, which he doesn't throw to lefties, which is odd to me because you figure a lefty curveball against a left-handed hitter, you figured he'd go down and away with it. And it's a nice pitch to play off the changeup as it goes in a different direction. You can pitch tunnel it, and the spin rate numbers are above average on the curveball, and the numbers in a tiny sample in terms of the results over the course of his career against lefties, they're 1 for 7 with a double, and that's across 9 plate appearances. So he doesn't use it. It's more of a get me over curveball for him. I guess it's an average major league pitch. The vertical and horizontal break are pretty average on it, but I don't know. I want to see him go to the curveball more to play off the fastball, right? Like when he elevates the fastball, go to that curveball low in the zone. That's how you fool batters. So it's a pitch that I think he should definitely mix in more in order to get left-handed batters out. But that's Carlos Rodón, man. He's trying to find his way back to that elite status. I'm not sure he can ever get there. With someone like Max Fried, I feel like you know what you're getting from him a little bit more. He's consistently done this year to year. He's been consistently a frontline starting pitcher. And by the way, we've talked about Fried a lot lately. If you want to go to BD4blog.com, we wrote about him the other day. You could check out one of our latest podcasts. We spoke about Max Fried right after the Cole injury. So definitely check those out. But yeah, you know what you're getting from Max Fried. You kind of know what you're getting from, Marcus Stroman, or at least like best case Marcus Stroman. You know that you're getting an average pitcher at best. Schmidt is kind of a wild card to me. And maybe we'll do a separate pod or a separate blog on Clark Schmidt. That could be something we do soon. He could play a really big role if he's healthy. Because speaking of stuff, this is a guy who has movement on all of his pitches. So he could be a wild card here. And Will Warren, another guy we've spoken about a lot on the podcast here. Go back to pod number 811 2 weeks ago. Check that one out. We spoke on him. And we also wrote an article on him on BD4blog.com. So check out our content about Fried and Warren. And maybe we'll have something on Rodón soon now. But yeah, it's Rodon's time to shine. It's his time to show the Yankees what he hasn't been able to show them yet. I really, really like the fact that he can eat innings and that he's extremely durable and that he racks up the strikeouts. That's important. But I would love for the next step in his Yankees career to be improving in terms of run prevention. I would, if Carlos Rodón goes out there this upcoming season, and so he posted a 6 whatever ERA his first year. Last year it was a 3.9. If he can get that under 3.5, it's big. Ideal scenario, 3.30 ERA. That's a true number 2. So he's the guy. He's got to be the guy. I like the guy. I love the edge. I love that he wears his heart on his sleeve. I know some people take that the wrong way. I love it, man. I love my guy going out there and rocking out. That's a pitcher. The guy's got passion. I appreciate that. Just needs to have more consistency. So that's it. Just a quick 20-minute episode. Wanted to talk about Rodón starting opening day against the Brewers. Trying to think, I can't off the top of my head because my knowledge in terms of around baseball isn't as great with the Yankees, but is their opening day starter going to be Cortez? I don't remember who's in their rotation. I'm sure I'm missing a pretty big name, like a household name, and I'm going to feel stupid once I hit stop on this recording and look it up and find out it's somebody important. But in terms of their lineup, they're going to be that Rodón's going to be facing there, pretty much similar to last year in their lineup. Christian Yelich, if he's healthy, is obviously an elite left-handed bat. What's his name? Their leadoff hitter. Jurickson something? I don't know the freaking guy's name. He's a good hitter. He had a good year last year. Contreras is obviously legitimate. So that's an interesting team. But that's what Rodón has coming up. It's good that it's a home opener, so I'll try to get some tickets to that game. And I'm a big Rodón fan, so I appreciate this guy. I just hope he really figures it out this year, and he's going to have to. He's playing a key role as the number 2. So appreciate you all tuning in. That's all we got for this episode 823 of the podcast. The Yanks to start Carlos Rodón in the opener. Appreciate you all. See you very soon. Later. Well, if you made it this far, that means you listened to or watched the entire episode. Thank you. Just remember to follow, subscribe, download, rate and review, and all that fun stuff to help out the podcast. And I will see you in the next episode of BD4.